My name is Lydia Mae Simmons. I spent way too long getting my pre-video coffee before filming this, and now I am erasing the light, so let's make this quick. This is going to be a production breakdown of the fourth, I should know that, song on my album called Like Water. This, much to my surprise, aside from the singles, has been so far the most popular song on this album, so I'm excited to get into it. I wrote, performed, and produced this song totally by myself in the comfort of my room, so if you too are wanting to get into producing and making your own music, I invite you to follow along and we'll learn together. So this song is a meditation on what is not a new concept at all. I did not come up with it, but the idea that water is both the softest and the strongest thing in the world. And since this album is about the process of embodiment, coming into your own, settling into your own body, a lot of the time, one of the barriers to doing that is that we have a lot of defenses set up and we feel that we need to be guarded against the world and be very strong and be ready for whatever comes at us, whoever might criticize us, whatever bad things might happen, we need to be prepared for them. That's something that I'm very familiar with. I'm a very anxious person and also a very guarded person. I'm not very open to the world. So that's something that I am currently learning for myself, how having so many defenses and being so tensed up and ready for the world to come at you can oftentimes make you not stronger, but more vulnerable to attack. And the way that I envisioned this was that water, when it's frozen, like I feel like I am a lot of the time, like very icy, is very easy to break. You can throw it on the ground and it'll just shatter into a million pieces, but you can't break running water or water in its liquid form. It can't be broken because it's not solid. The only way for it to be broken is if it changes forms and becomes something that it wasn't originally. So this was something that I wanted to meditate on, especially in situations where I felt like I was dealing with people who didn't understand me well, or possibly situations or settings where I wasn't in my element and I felt like I was kind of on the defensive, having the idea that it was up to me whether I was going to let these people break me, whether I was going to let this situation be something that could hurt me, or whether I was just going to choose to kind of move through it. Just allow whatever opinions, whatever situation, whatever bad things just kind of pass through me, and then recognize that I'm separate from them and can kind of just keep going. Like I don't have to let these things break me. I don't have to let certain things be important enough to me to really make a difference in how I approach the world. Now, of course, this is very nuanced. This is not to say that it's anyone's fault if they get their feelings hurt. At the end of the day, there are many things that people actually can tangibly do to hurt you. And also, you are not, we can't be water. We're human beings. We have physical bodies, so we can be hurt. This is only just a meditation on how to approach certain things that you do have some control over. This is not in situations of like abuse or where you're trapped in something and you need to change the situation. But possibly if you're stuck with people who just misunderstand you, or people have different priorities from you and you're constantly feeling this need to make yourself understood or make yourself stronger than you feel like you want to be, there's an opportunity to envision that differently and to envision your role in that situation differently. So as with everything in this album, literally take it if it makes sense to you, and if it doesn't, don't, because there are many situations to which it will not apply, but it applied to me and I wrote a song about it. I think there's some quote that really does encapsulate this, that water is... Let me just look it up real quick. I'm filming this on my phone. I can't look it up on my phone. One second. The quote is from Michelle Williams. I want to be like water. I want to slip through fingers, but hold up a ship. It is both something that's very strong and able to generate immense force and immense power, but it's not something solid that can be broken or held or anything like that. So this was just something I wanted to envision as a way to recontextualize some of the barriers I had to connecting with myself and the rest of the world. So this song began with this. Does this count as arpeggiated? I'm sure it does. Listen, y'all, I don't know music theory. I played piano until I was 8 years old, and I asked my mom, have I been doing it long enough to know that I hate it? And she said, yeah, and I quit. And then I didn't think about music again. Well, I did think about it constantly. I didn't do anything music related again until I was 23. So I do not know anything. I imagine this is arpeggiator or something arpeggiated. I wrote this little sequence and stacked up a bunch of different synths because I did want this to sound like falling water. So it sounds like this. So that is made up of... My logic just crashed. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen again. Continuing. It did happen again. Apparently, according to logic, I'm not allowed to drag and rearrange any of these tracks. So let's hope as long as I play along with those rules that we won't have any more issues. So this one will have to stay here where I wish these two could go together, just so you know. But it's okay, and we're not going to worry about it. This section is made up of 4 synths playing the arpeggiated section, and then I have another motif that I have the same same synthesizers that are playing the arpeggiated section. I have also playing another little motif, so acoustic cascades is one of them. Then we have reflected sunlight. Just a little baby piano. Then dreamy air guitar. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I use this one. I believe the technical term is a metric fuck ton. And then lastly, oak piano dream synth. So that sets the tone and does make you feel kind of like you're floating, like you are water. I was very happy with the atmosphere that I created there. We also have the chords, some pads playing the chords. B minor 7, B minor 6, C sharp minor, E. And I don't want to think about what chord progression that is. You figure that out. Awaken from a Dream, which is panned to the left. That is a very dreamy Enya-esque synth that I love. And then Vector Untitled. They are very similar, but I think the Vector Untitled has a more full choral sound, and Awaken from a Dream is a little more atmospheric, which makes sense why Vector Untitled is the main pad right down the middle, and then Awaken from a Dream is panned to the left. And as you can see, I'm going to have a lot more pads that come in later to fill it out and add to the dreamy quality, but that is how we begin. We also have, I guess this is all the way down here, and I can't drag and drop it to change where it is, but... very high-pitched bubbly pad, that's panned to the right. And then the other main thing we have also setting the tone for the watery, aquatic atmosphere in this song is bubble breathing. I bet you can guess what this is about to sound like. Like bubbles. Like a beautiful babbling brook. Say that 5 times fast. A beautiful babbling brook. So those together really set off the vibes. And lastly, Clouds of Suns, I believe, is a bass. Kind of delayed atmospheric bass. I guess it doesn't even really count as a bass. It's categorized under pads in alchemy, but I think that's what I'm using it for. I don't think that this song has a particularly large amount of bass because it is meant to feel very ethereal and like you're floating in the air, or I guess in the water, I should say. So unlike the vast majority of my other songs, not going to have too much bass, but we'll see if I'm proven wrong by that. And I almost always am proven wrong about something that I say in my videos, even though who's the only one who could know what the right thing is to say? Me. But I forgot. I know I already forgot. The vocals in this song are also very ethereal and soft. They sound like this. Oh, the days when I was made of ice. Oh, the strength I thought I as you can see, we have a lot of plugins going on. So this main vocal chain would be the dry vocals, and by that I mean without reverb on them. They have, obviously this isn't dry, and there are also 2 reverbs, so we'll find out what's going on there. Probably have some things automated. Yeah, I have some reverb throws automated that we'll get into, but this is the main vocal that is right down the center and is mostly what you're hearing. We have fresh air, which I use on my vocals always. That just adds a little bit of airiness and presence, which is also especially helpful to bring energy back in because I'm recording at home and I'm not able to record in a very soundproof environment where I can really control all the factors. I just record in my room and hope for the best. So a lot of the time I have to do a lot of treatment after the fact on my vocals to take out ambient sounds. So that can kind of dim the light on the vocals a little bit, make them sound a little bit more muffled. And adding some fresh air back in after the fact can really just bring the energy and the brightness and the presence back up, which is helpful for someone who's recording at home, and it's free. So check it out. And then EQ, just doing a little bit of mild boosting again, kind of adding a little bit of airiness and presence and taking out a little bit of the more muffled sounds. You can make things sound a little bit hollower and brighter by taking out those lower mid frequencies from like 300 to 500-ish. You have to be a little bit sparing with it when it comes to vocals because you don't want them to sound harsh. That is where also the warmth of your vocals will sit, and it can make them sound very smooth. But if you're not careful, then it can just make them sound boomy and weird. So took out a little bit there. Then I have this reverb, the large and bright, which is the setting that automatically pulls up when you open up Logic Space Designer. But I have that just automated to go up at the end of certain phrases, which is known as a reverb throw. It makes something kind of ring out at the end of a phrase. When I was made of ice. It's very subtle, especially because I have so much reverb on the second audio track that I'll be talking about, but I find that it can make a big difference. You can really feel it. DDR Nova, as always, dynamic EQ, doing some extra de-essing for me, and then gain just for whatever gain automation I needed. I don't remember. And then the Audio 5, which is my wet or reverbed vocal tracks. I have more fresh air. I have some distortion going on, which I believe I have the distortion automated. Yeah, so it looks like I only put the distortion on this last pre-chorus, but otherwise it is at 0%. And then I have the Dream Hall reverb, which is my favorite reverb in Space Designer, and this is just at -10 and probably stays pretty much there for most of the song. Yeah, it looks like it just goes up a little bit with every verse. So it starts at -10, then with this pre-chorus goes up to -9.6. Really dramatic jump, and then right at the very end goes up to -8.6. So very subtle, but upping the reverb just a little bit as you go through the song can help keep the energy growing. And then EQ, I always cut more frequencies from the EQ spectrum on my wet vocals to make them cleaner. Once again, de-essing and gain automation as well. So those are the settings that I have on my vocals. And then we also have a lot of harmony tracks. When they start off, they sound like this. Very far in the background, very heavily reverbed. That to me very much sounds like mermaids or sirens singing from the bottom of the ocean. So once again, we're keeping on theme, but I love to add little backing vocals like that whenever I can. So I guess those aren't technically harmonies. Let's see what we have here. The sunlight, its gentle hands on me. Someone else can correct me if I'm wrong and make me look stupid, but it sounds like it's just singing an octave down, so also still kind of not harmonies. And then what do we have here? So it looks like we pretty much just have a lot of ambient backing vocals, oohs and ahs until the second pre-chorus, and then I fully do some actual harmony lines where I'm singing along with the main vocal. But to get that super washy effect, again, we have a lot going on. Fresh air, EQ, we have chorusing, mega wide chorus. I have stopped using this as much, but I did used to really like it, and I have the intensity turned up pretty high. Space Designer Dream Hall again. I have the dry input turned down to -5.6, and then the wet turned up to -11.5. So turning down the dry on the vocal will make it so that more of the reverb is coming through, and you're getting less and less of that pure dry sound kind of along with it. It's taking that down so that you're hearing more of the reverb. Oftentimes that's going to be an artistic choice when you choose to use it. It's not common to use that just on the main vocals because it does make it harder to hear and harder to understand, but I do like doing that when you really want something to sound very washy and ambient. And on pedal board, this is a plugin that I like to use for delay, the True Tape delay that can add some grungy, weird delay. It just has a little more color and warmth than a regular straight up delay plugin, and then added EQ again afterwards. So this was pre-reverb, took out all the low end, and then some other places where you could get a buildup of pesky frequencies, and then after I added the reverb, I once again cut those out because the reverb will just kind of fill up that space, and you want to be specific about where you want the reverb to come in. It's not necessarily the best way to do it. There are a lot of ways to do it, and there are ways in reverb plugins where you can pick and choose where you want the reverb to come in, but that's what I did here. VGI2 is a free saturator plugin, so I have that turned on to add some warmth, and then some more dynamic EQ. So we have a couple places around 500 to cut out, again, those muddy frequencies at the top, cutting out some of the high end when it's getting too high, cutting out 1K and 2K. From 1K to 2K is really where the presence of a sound sits. The lower frequencies are kind of muddy and will get hidden under the mix, and then the super high frequencies are very airy. 1K is kind of the sweet spot where it has just enough warmth and presence to be heard and just enough brightness to not get lost in the mix. So it's kind of the center. So when you want something to, again, be very washy and not poke out of the mix, a lot of the times I will take out that part of the frequency spectrum to make it a little more ambient. And then I also have it in the low end of the frequency spectrum. So that is also, once again, taking out even more of the low end. Those are kind of going throughout the whole song. So this is what the intro through the first chorus sounds like. Couple things to call out here that I really like. I do really like that. I don't have it marked here, but that would count as a post-chorus, I guess. First of all, I like how I automated the reverb to send the vocals out into the pre-chorus. They sound like this. Couple like water. So as you can see, I have the reverb automated, the output wet to go up, so that's adding more reverb. I also have the output dry automated to go down. So as I said with the harmonies, that takes out the dry signal, the clear non-reverbed signal, and leaves you with mostly just the reverb. So again, that kind of aids a natural transition from having the vocals constantly to a section without the vocals. It just kind of gradually takes them out instead of abruptly stopping. And it looks like I have two reverbs on the dry vocals that are both automated to go up at that section, so that just doubles up on it. So that really helps with this transition. I also have this little ambient guitar that is also helping go into that transition. I really love the way that sounds. I didn't automate the gain going into that. I just made the velocity increasingly go up for each of those strums, and it creates a very beautiful, satisfying color gradient too, which is an added bonus, but that's just to give the effect of strumming. Obviously, this is all MIDI and I don't know how to play any instruments anyway, so that's the best I can do, but I love the way it sounds. As you can see, we have a lot more going on with the chords in this post-chorus. We have added 2 more pads, and now the ambient guitar and also the slow attack piano is going to play. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but it's pretty similar to that motif that was being played here. I think it is exactly the same, so it's a callback to the intro. Altogether, they sound like this. Slow attack piano really living up to its name there because the attack is so slow you can barely hear it. It is very subtle, so you kind of have to be looking for it. Do we have the crystal steel here doing it too? That's something different, which I will get to in a second. So anyway, very subtle, very quiet and dreamy callback to the intro that maybe nobody can hear but me, but I love it. Brass response as a pad is very warm. A lot of the sounds up until this point in the song have been airy and cold and wet. This is very warm and cozy, so I feel like that helps add just a little bit of presence and loveliness to the song. And then the analog smooth is going to serve that same purpose, I believe. I'm remembering now, I think I did do this on purpose. I think I did purposefully make the song get warmer as you went along, because it starts out with talking about the days when I was made of ice, and then goes into the chorus saying that the sun laid its gentle hands on me and now I'm melted down and learning how to be unbreakable like water. So I think I did purposefully add more warm and lush sounds as the song went on. And man, did I even color code it? I think I did. These are the cold pads that are blue, and then I have these 2 warm ones are yellow or orange. Look at me. If I didn't do that on purpose, then what a coincidence, but I'm pretty sure that I did. I'm remembering. We do have also, going into this transition, a couple of sound effects, which I like to do. The calm beach is that wind that you're hearing, and calm sunrise is a little bass going into it. And then these are the harmonies, and then we also do have our bass here. Dark drive stack's going to be a bass, so once again that is also orange because it's going to be a warm sound, so I really must have done this on purpose. We have a little bit of fun stuff going on here. Those tiny little melodic moments, I feel I made the harmony vocals so in the background and so washy that you really almost can't hear it unless you're listening for it, but that is my favorite part of the song. Beautiful. Anyways, Dark Drive Stack is a very different sound coming in. Lovely, intense, warm, sexy bass. And then we have another iteration of Vector entitled I'm Not Sure Why, and I'm not sure why it's all the way up here. Why I felt the need to put that twice and not stock it with the rest of the pads is anyone's guess. But as we previously established, I'm not allowed to move it. I'm not allowed to rearrange anything in this project or it will crash on me, so that's whatever. There is honestly, aside from adding the bass into it, really not a whole lot that changes at all going into verse 2. It's a very, not a vocal heavy situation, but I feel like the lyrics are very beautiful in the second verse. So that's mainly the thing that happens, and I guess I'll just let you listen to it. So I really love those lyrics in the second verse. If they were not intelligible, lyrics are, I press my lips to every ruined thing, my heart and spine I learned to hate. The birds are celebrating, hear them sing as they watch me start to run away because the sunlight is gently on me. That is just describing another process of letting your guard down, is making friends with and learning to love the parts of you that you hate and the things that you have broken and the things about you that are hard to love, including the defenses that you put up, not throwing them away and being like, man, I don't fucking need these anymore, but recognizing that those defenses were you trying to keep yourself safe and they may indeed have been necessary at a certain point in time, but may not be anymore. So instead of this being a very, again, this isn't a hard ass song, this isn't buckling down and changing your ways, this is about becoming more gentle and the strength that can be found in gentleness, gentility, kind of falling in love with every single part of yourself and the joy and the warmth that can be found in that. And this is meant to feel very joyful and be a very happy song. We do get into, as I said, these extra harmonies in the second pre-chorus. Just go one line at a time. but again, instrumentally, really nothing changes there. So that's mostly up to the harmonies and the lyrics, but then we get into the bridge / outro. As you can hear and you can see, I was building and building and building and building and building the warmth and the lush feeling all throughout the second chorus, and then the bridge into the end of the song, a lot of that gets pared back down to get this very peaceful, simple, gentle feeling. So I took out all of those warm pads. I did leave the ambient guitar, but did I automate it? No. So we have the ambient guitar, all of the original pads, all of the original arpeggiated synths, but they are automated, so they go down to -3.2 dB in that section. And then I do take back out the bass and I add this evolving currents. So we have a little bit of a gospel type organ going on there. So that is quite warm, but it's different. Changes the vibe going into this and has a very melancholy feeling to it. And then the dulcimer wash just playing specific chords at the end of each loop. So that adds a little uptick in movement and energy so it doesn't get stale feeling. I also have a lot of little bits of ear candy that are going on. Those are just little things that I added at random. Things that usually I add after I've produced out the majority of the song, just to keep the energy up, and add little things that your ear can catch on to that aren't necessarily a main part of the song. Also have tidal space, which I guess is a transitional sound effect. So Clouds of Suns seems like it's another bass, and then tidal space is just that windy sound, which I love to do. This is one of the earlier songs that I made for this album. By the time that I was into the later songs, I was really into adding windy sound effects that just kind of went throughout the entire song. This was at the beginning of that, so I have them used more sparingly, which may indeed be better. But I got kind of addicted to it and I couldn't stop. But I do like adding them for a natural feeling, and they're really good for transitions and kind of, it just feels like it kind of blows you from each part of the song. It blows you. I need to go to sleep. It pushes you forward from one part of the song to the next. Let's say that. We do have the reverb once again automated a little bit in this last section. I actually did, looks like I took down the reverb at the end, which is a little bit surprising to me. I turned it up on the wet effects and down on the dry vocal. I will flow over the rocks, my silken body will touch every This is one little fun thing. I was happy with the entirety of this vocal except for at the very end. I didn't hold this note for as long as I felt like it called for in the song. So I did have the reverb ring out, but no matter how much I was doing that, you just couldn't hear it for as long as I wanted to. So I left it as it was on this vocal channel, but then on the wet effects, I took the end of it and I just cut it and I copied it a couple of times and used crossfades to give the illusion that I sang it for longer than I did. And because there are so many effects on it and it's so wet, it worked, but I technically didn't sing that note for as long as I wanted to. But sometimes you can come up with creative solutions. I felt like it was just really necessary. Sometimes you just need half a second more of one note, and it is quite frankly a pain in the ass to re-record it. So thankfully I was able to save that without having to go over and do things again. I did also struggle with the production of this vocal because, as I'm always saying in all of my videos, the S sounds that I produce when I sing are ridiculous and really unpleasant to listen to and really difficult to take out. So I had to de-ess this shit like 15 times. And at a certain point, when you do enough de-essing, you can either sound like you have a lisp, or it can also, a lot of the time, it's not even just the S sounds, it's my T's and D's as well, and sometimes F's. A lot of consonants have the same quality, that very like piercing, hissing sound. So I have to kind of de-ess a lot of my consonants as well, and it's a very fine art because if you go too far, it makes it sound quite odd. And I feel like I maybe did go a little too far with this. But whatever. If I wanted to make a perfect song, I would have written a song like a perfectionist, not like water. We are embracing the imperfections, and by the time I'm making my next album, hopefully I will have learned the science. But I haven't yet. So if the lyrics are a bit difficult to understand or they sound a little bit lispy, that's my bad. That's on me. But the lyrics are on streaming services, so you can just look them up if you're curious. Anyways, that is all I have for you today. As you can see, I did indeed lose the race against the light because it is quite dark. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned a little something, if anything, about what a mess my process is and how you can indeed make great things even if you don't really know what you're doing. If there's anything that you'd like to see videos about, please let me know. If there's any questions that I can answer about learning production or songwriting or anything like that, this is my favorite thing in the world to talk about, so do let me know. But I have a few more videos just like this coming for you soon. For the songs off the rest of my album, I'll be doing production breakdowns for, and then who knows what comes next, but I hope to be back with more stuff for you soon, and happy producing!